Hey guys, Toyota Code 43 here today with another tour and drive for you. Today I've got the keys to this 1996 Toyota Caldina 2.0 TZ four-wheel drive. First I'll tell you the basic dimensions and some basic specs about it. Then we'll check out all of its features, get some up-close looks at things, and check out the inside, the outside, under the hood, in the trunk. Then we'll go for a drive. The first thing you're gonna think, and I thought the same thing when I first walked around this and saw it in person, is it looks a lot like a Corolla wagon that we got here in the States, except it's actually on its own chassis. There's a lot more rear end length versus a standard Corolla wagon we got in this time frame in the mid-90s. The Caldina came in 3 generations. It was preceded by the Corona and Carina wagons. I'll show you some pictures here. And then it was succeeded by the Toyota Avensis wagon/estate. But there were 3 generations, 92 to 96, the T190 that you see here, 97 to 01, the T210, and then 02 to 07 are the T240 generation. This generation, the T190, came with a various number of engines, S-Series, 3S, and 4S, diesels, 4-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and then it also came in a van formation. Now, it didn't lose any windows in the back like you might see some utility station wagons, but it did have a different suspension for more load carrying. This is a fully independent suspension car, 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. But if you have the van, you get semi-independent leaf springs in the back. So I'm sure the ride is horrendous, but it can hold a lot more stuff. So let's talk about the dimensions of this thing. Overall length here is 179 inches. The overall width is 67 inches. Curb weight for this 4-wheel drive model is around 2,950 pounds, 1,340 kilograms, I think it was. And it's a 102-inch wheelbase, or 101.6, something like that. I can't get over it. Like I said before, it looks a lot like a Corolla from the front end of this generation. Also looks a lot like a Subaru Impreza Outback of the 90s, but I would assume that was kind of its competition was the Impreza and the legacy Outback wagons of the time. All right, so let's check out this powertrain and talk about it. So this is Toyota's 3S FE engine, related to the mighty 3S GE or GTE that you might find in an MR2 from Japan, with either 170 or 210 horsepower or something like that. But this 3S FE, the more fuel economical version, is 135 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque, somewhere around there, hooked up to a 4-speed automatic transmission and a full-time 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive system. And you can see under the hood here, everything's laid out really simply. Your alternator's right up top, you got your washer fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid. You've got trans dipstick right there. You've got your engine oil dipstick down there in the front. And I swear, the easiest starter to change I've ever seen in my life. You don't even have to go into the car to do it. It's pretty awesome. Like I say, there were diesels and other engines available for this as well. All 4 cylinders, all transversely mounted. Anything ranging from somewhere around 70 horsepower up to the 3S GE, which in the top trim model was, I believe, 180 or 190 horsepower in this car. With it only being 2,950 for weight, I'd imagine it goes pretty well. So let's get up into some of the nitty-gritty details. First thing you see here, and I'll show a picture of it extended, this is your, I guess it's a parking wand, parking stick. I don't know the technical term for it. I'm gonna have to look it up. But basically, you have a 2-position switch inside the car, which I can show you, that allows this to either come up automatically when you turn on the car, or when you're going under a certain speed perhaps to help you park, or you can leave it down. I'll show you the switch real quick. Down, up, auto switch is for that parking stick. Doors sound like new on this thing. Here's the full-time four-wheel drive sticker. There's one on the other side as well. 14-inch wheels with 185 tires all the way around. Drum brakes in the rear, which I was surprised to find on this sporty-looking wagon. Disc in the front, obviously. Big power sunroof on top. And this one has these massive factory Toyota visor vents or smoking vents. I don't know what you want to call them. I don't think this is a smoker's car though. It doesn't smell like it at all inside. It smells like new. It smells like a 90s Toyota. But yeah, these things are like the width of my hand underneath to get to where the window would be. It's huge. I'll give you a better view from back here. Absolutely huge. And they're on both sides. I love the twin ducktail style spoilers on the back of this. One off the roof and one off the center of the tailgate. Absolutely a cool look. You have a power antenna that comes up out of the rear. Quarter panel here as well. And as out of place as it looks, that is actually the factory closing or opening handle for the rear gate. This giant one right here. While I'm back here, I'll show you in the trunk. Your release is up here under the Toyota badge. Told you it's the 2.0 TZ four-wheel drive. It's actually very sizable back here. You'd never know that there's four-wheel drive components underneath. The floor is not very high or anything like that. You have a full-size cover for all of your goods. This one, I don't know if they all come with this, but this one has this really cool rubberized floor mat for protecting the carpet underneath back here. And it is carpet indeed. But as you can see, there's extra material because if you lay down the second row seats, that mat will cover those up too. Maybe it was like a dog mat or something like that. That might be the case here. Also, another nice little finishing detail is you can see there's a flap there, but not over here. Well, there's a flap on the back of this cargo cover that clips to the headrests in order to fully cover the trunk area. Very smart. There's no grab handle or anything back here for closing the trunk. Closes like new. Rear wiper, and man, I feel like we entered late 1980s GM here, where ABS was advertised on the car for anti-lock brakes. It's just comical to me. Gas door releases on the floor in the driver's floorboard. So let's get around to that side and show you the interior. Like I say, gas door release right here on the floor. So these seats are wild. Actually remind me a lot of Volkswagen Helios seats. They're not so blue, they're more gray trimmed, but the striping, having the blue, green, and purple, is a lot like the blues and purples available on those seats. I'll show you a picture here. I actually have a set of non-Recaro ones at home that I want to use someday. Seats are in perfect shape, all of them. The floor mats are equally as interesting. They don't match the color scheme, but they are definitely factory mats. They're like plush here, and they're a shorter pile here actually. And then you've got your footrest area there. There's this nice little green accent light under both sides of the front footwell. It turns off after a few seconds once you start the car, but it's nice when you get in. Little storage cubby for change, cards, or whatever you use here. Fog lights, mirror controls. You have power retracting mirrors, which work just fine. Very simple steering wheel, no cruise control in this car. Feels nice in the hands, it's nice and thin. You can see there's 150,000 kilometers on this car. I'm sorry, 115,000 kilometers on this car. Red line shows at 6,000. The automatic shifts around 5,500. I just noticed a fun little detail. This horn button is right side up. This horn button is upside down. I wonder if they just used the same part and just flipped it over. Doesn't seem like a very Toyota thing to do, but that's what it looks like. Center stack is typical Toyota of the 90s. Feels a lot like my LS400 that I owned. You got digital clock at the top, rear defrost, and hazard controls. You have a CD player and logic control deck. Tape player and the radio. The stereo is actually pretty great for what feels like a lower economy car. Your HVAC controls, you actually have fully automated HVAC if you so chose. You can just stick this over to auto, choose your mode, and off it goes. Nice big ashtray here. Storage cubby underneath. The tall 90s automatic Toyota shifter, but you have this transmission which has two shift modes, well, three total. With both of these switches off, it's in normal. Then you have power, or you have manual, which I haven't really quite figured out what manual does. Standard manual handbrake, and then a two-part center console, which this one is for holding CDs, but I think you can pop that insert out as well for just space. Now, I've got that front seat in a space where I would sit. That seat is actually maxed all the way back, and then I have it lean back for a little extra room because I'm long-legged and also not small. But I'm going to sit behind myself anyway in a second here. Just want to show you that it also has the same rear carpet design as it does in the front, and the seats are the same wild pattern. Show you how to put the seats down quick. You pop up. Basically, you have a release here for the rear seats to knock the backs down, and they fold probably 90% flat, if not all the way down. So yes, I can sit behind myself in relative comfort. Give you a nice view of the dash here. Motorcycles racing outside. It's a warm night here. He's really moving too. Wanted to wait until that motorcyclist cleared out of the way. He was loud. So you have power window switches on each door. Only the front driver is automatic. Automatic up-down, I should say. So now I think we'll just take a moment to start it up. Walk around it while it's running, turn on the lights. No lights on the dash apart from the door being open, the brake being on, and no seatbelt currently at the moment. Runs quiet as a mouse. Nice bright lights up front. You can see along the bottom there, those are signal lenses in the bumper. And you can see the parking wand, parking stick came up there. Taillights and license plate lamps in the rear, all functioning. It's quiet when it needs to be, which is 99% of your driving, but it actually has a nice growl when you step into it, as you'll hear in the drive section. With that, I think we're gonna get the camera set up and go for a ride. All right, let's go for a little drive in this Toyota Caldina. First thing you notice as you take off in a bumpy parking garage in Flint, Michigan, where the roads are, well, terrible. Pause for the electronic toll device. It speaks to you in Japanese. It rides supremely nicely. It's got really soft shocks all the way around. You have some body roll in the corners, but it's very predictable handling. And there's actually some really nice weight to the steering wheel. It helps in its sporty feel, that's for sure. My Nissan Cedric that I daily drive right now has like one finger power steering. It's super, super easy. But this requires some effort, and that's okay, because I like that feel. I was also reading that mile per gallon ratings on these combined estimations are around 25, 26 to the gallon US, which is good. It's quiet, the throttle is easy to modulate, the transmission shifts only when it needs to. It's quick to downshift as you drive, as you'll hear in a little bit. And you don't even notice that it's a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive system at all. Probably not until there's loss of traction, you know, in dirt or in snow or ice. And if I recall correctly, this is Toyota's all-track system, which we did get here in the States in a couple different cars. You could get a Camry all-track for a couple of years. You could get a Celica all-track. But yeah, we otherwise didn't get the all-wheel drive Toyotas here. And it's a full mechanical system, as far as I understand, at least. So yeah, we're going to go out onto the street here. I'm going to flip you guys around so you're able to see better. Here we go. For being a 26-year-old car, it doesn't feel like it. And I mean, the true mileage converted back to miles, 115,000 is like 72,000 miles, something like that. So extremely low by our standards for a car this old. Maybe higher mileage in Japan, I guess, but not excessively so. I mean, keeps up with normal traffic just fine. I'm going to close the windows for a little quieter experience. There we go. We're going to get it out on the highway as quick as we can here. There we go. Okay, we're going to stand on it. And I mean, for 135 horsepower, it doesn't hesitate to hustle. You know, we got up to 70 to 75, no problem there coming down the hill. And the engine's willing and able and sounds nice. Much quieter with the sunroof closed. But yeah, cruises along at highway speeds beautifully. It's quiet, there's no drama. Yes, there's some wind noise that I'm speaking of a little bit more, but nothing negative to say. Everything you'd expect of a Toyota of the 1990s. It's really well put together. The build quality is absolutely stellar. I've only been driving it around about 30 miles or so in total before I shot this video, and yeah, I mean, I had no complaints. It's not a fast car, but that's not its point. It's a very utilitarian station wagon with a fair amount of rear seat room. You know, I've got a forward-facing child seat that I would be putting in the back if this was mine, and I don't doubt I'd have more than enough room back there. Get your little 0 to 60 right here in power mode. Shift a little higher RPM that time. Yeah, actually shifted it to full 6,000. When you have it in normal mode, it tends to shift at 5,500 instead, so it actually holds out the shifts a bit longer in power mode on the transmission. That's that button right down by the shifter. And I wanted to add that this car is available right now from Nomad Auto Imports in Flint, Michigan. The link to the webpage for this car will be down below, and I'll make sure I add the price in the description as well. But if the car sells, well, the description will say so. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this view of the Toyota Caldina. I've had a lot of fun videoing it. I've always wanted to check one of these out. I remember driving them back in the Gran Turismo 2 and 3 days and always having a buttload of fun driving them around. Yeah, I mean, it's fun being able to have the ability to check out all these Japanese cars that never otherwise get to see. So thank you, Nomad Auto Imports, for the opportunities, for sure. I'm going to end this video here, and I will see you guys next time.